Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Hog Talk Podcast, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Believe and Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us each week on 106.7 Buzz 2 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are coming to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I'm Porter Hayes, and tonight we are joined by Cierra Clark from Choose Arkansas. Thank you so much, Cierra, for joining us tonight as a guest host, and looking forward to talking about Choose Arkansas and Razorbacks tonight.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
So when, the new initiative started with Choose Arkansas and a bunch of people started joining board, you jumped aboard. How has it been, with the transition? I know you've done a lot of stuff for SEC Unfiltered. You were previously on the TV. So how has this been just the last year for you? Been pretty busy over the last year.
Yeah, so I actually started with Choose Arkansas a few months ago around the SEC tournament. And so that was kind of my first trip with them. And it was a lot of fun getting to know Razorback fans, of course, in Nashville, and kind of a little bit telling them about what we do. Of course, Hog fans were very excited around that time of year. The Razorbacks won the SEC tournament in Nashville, which is always an exciting time. But yeah, it's been fun, I wouldn't say so much of a downtime, because there's always stuff going on in the world of sports, especially with the transfer portal and NIL and all that kind of thing. But it's been fun for sure.
So what challenges have y'all seen? I know, you're not the typical NIL, but I love the fact y'all are third party. You're wanting to do it on your own and talk to David Smith, and just y'all are wanting to help out the women's programs and help out the other programs. And that's what really got me and him started talking. So how's it been, getting people on board, getting people to really donate, or I don't know if that's the word you use, donate, but get people on board, and then going to these women's programs and getting these female athletes to really that someone's on their side.
Yeah, and it's really all about putting awareness out there. So coming up with the social media plan, of course, going on podcasts like yours and talking about that. But the women's sports is something I'm really passionate about, because I was a former athlete, and then David, of course, his daughters played college sports. So that's something he's really passionate about as well. And, when people hear NIL, they think of, oh, this kid is getting paid $5 million and he's going to buy a Lamborghini. Cough, cough, Carson Beck. But the reality, most athletes aren't making that kind of money. And of course, there's a rev share, and each school kind of divides it differently. But with the women's sports, we saw with Arkansas, both the men's and the women's tennis teams were going to get cut, and fans really rallied together to help bring that program back. And, women's sports are so important, because there's I can't remember the exact number, but a high amount of C-suite executives that are females were collegiate athletes. My mom worked in tech at Oracle, the tech company, for over 30 years, and very successful businesswoman. And she was an All-American track and field athlete at Florida State. So the skills that women learn in collegiate sports and high school sports as well is something that cannot be taken away. And it's something that we need to continue to develop and encourage women to compete in sports, because so many girls, even in high school, drop out of sports too. And so when they see these collegiate athletes that are women, that are just killing it in the classroom, on the court, on the field, whatever, it really inspires the next generation. So we want these female athletes to be able to make this kind of money that their male counterparts have. And, it doesn't even have to be the top athlete out there. We saw a few years ago, LSU gymnast Livy Dunn was one of the highest paid college athletes out there. And she was able to really utilize her social media. And that's something that we kind of promote also with Choose Arkansas, is promoting social media with these athletes, and also doing camps as well. And so we have one coming up with Journey Peppers. She's a star volleyball player for the Razorbacks. She played at Whitehall, so she is a Central Arkansas girl. And we're having a camp with her on July 25th in North Little Rock. And we're encouraging young girls to come out. And of course, she's going to interact, and she's going to have maybe some of her teammates out. We have some other camps that we're hoping to set up as well with other sports, because, football, yes, is the moneymaker, but women's sports are so important.
Well, and on that point, you think about it from a recruiting aspect or transfer portal, so many people are scrambling to fund their football programs, basketball, baseball, and all the other programs. I mean, you see what happened with the tennis program. They're just going to cut it. And then, fans and boosters rallied to bring that back. But when you have a collective like Choose Arkansas that focuses on those sports, those coaches come to you or the players come to you like, hey, we're coming here because they've got to Choose Arkansas that's for us, the little guys, instead of, well, I'm going to come here and hope maybe next year I'll get something, or they're going to give me a little bit this year and hopefully I'll get to X, Y, and Z my senior year. So you really have a cutting edge of the program that you're doing because we see what Texas Tech is doing.
Oh
They're going out with all their sports, and you see the women's basketball. I mean, Kennedy making, $1 million for softball, so
yeah.
you see just, and when Coach Deifel was on, she was, talking about needing money.
Mhm.
Now you have a spot like Choose Arkansas where, hey, we can help you out. We can set up these camps and we can do all these things. I think it's going to be very good once this thing gets rolling.
Mhm. And, with softball, Coach Deifel is doing amazing at Arkansas. They made it to Oklahoma City for the first time, which was a long time coming. So it was great to see those young women get that accomplishment. And the rise in women's sports is just growing and growing. I believe every year more people watch the Women's College World Series and the Men's
Mhm.
College World Series, and women's basketball is also really climbing. We see schools like in the SEC, like LSU, athletes on that team with star power, like Angel Reese or Flau'jae Johnson, who had like a rap career and she
Yep.
was also playing basketball at LSU. And of course, we see what they're doing down in South Carolina with Dawn Staley. And it's like Arkansas can do that too.
Yes, and absolutely, and that's what, Everett, of course, they've been a big supporter of the women's sports, based out of Central Arkansas, and
Mhm.
we're starting to see that. But you go back to the women's basketball program, and just you talk about a rise and fall,
Mhm.
and when you had all the soccer, gymnastics, volleyball, women's basketball, everything was up on the uptick. The golf, of course, the track and field program, and then NIL. Really, you want to talk about a program that just got demolished because of NIL and transfer portal. That took all their star players
Yeah.
away from them. And I'm just going to be blatantly honest. I'm glad Chelsea Dungy was here pre NIL because
Mhm.
somebody would have definitely poached her as well, and
Yeah.
then the program would have never taken off. And that's one of those programs that I wish, I hope for the best for that they can get back on the right track because, soccer, you've got women's basketball, softball, all year round. You can have great quality women's programs at Arkansas. I mean, that's just going to make everything so much better. Where you can link up with the rev share, you can link up with these other program or these other entities and get more money because we're seeing the interest that people like Choose Arkansas is going to be giving. Then you can help out and everybody works together, and then everybody can have money.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, because you see how well the men's program is doing. And of course, we love seeing the men's
Yeah.
program succeed, but the women's program too, it's like, come on, like we have the facilities, they're equal, and we have the athletes. Arkansas is a strong basketball state, when you look at the high school level, and it should be able to translate over to collegiate level on the women's side too.
Yes, and that's what got me started with this 7 years ago was, the women's programs, and I got to see the rise of all of them. I mean, really, I remember going to the softball games when they were giving tickets away,
Mhm.
and really what got me sold with that when I knew they had made it. I cannot remember what year, but they were playing a early game at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and on the ticket counter they had sold out. Like it's like they're showing up in 40-degree weather. The tickets are sold out for this game, and people showing up for this. They're here, and that's what we want. And now you see people lining up to go into the berm like they're going into the hog pen.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see, and we want to gather that momentum. And so you're talking about these camps and other activities. So what is your main, let's say summer into football season, what is the main focus or what do y'all have going on there at Choose Arkansas? And of course, how can people help out?
Yeah, of course, you touched on the camps. Parents are looking for a way to get a break from the kids and whatnot, but it's really about having that one-on-one interaction with these student athletes. Journey Peppers, she high school volleyball and college volleyball, a lot of it comes from the club system. So she was a club volleyball player too, and she played with the 501 volleyball club. And David was telling me one time she walked into like a practice or something like that, and the girls were just in awe of her because she was in their shoes at one point. So it's important for kids to have those dreams to be accessible to them and to have a collegiate athlete and a role model. near them in their area. And so, of course, we do those camps. We also have memberships. And so we don't just support the University of Arkansas, we support all of the other schools in the state. So if you're a Boo Pig Red Wolves fan, no worries, we got you covered. They also have a great women's basketball team there. Their track and field programs seems like they're always winning the Sun Belt, and we want to support those athletes as well. So if there's a business in Jonesboro that wants to partner with a football player on the Red Wolves team, then they can hit us up for sure. We also do stuff with UCA or UAPB. If you're a fan of any of those schools, please reach out to us, because we really want to empower businesses in those areas around those schools or around those states and those student athletes to maybe encourage them to maybe stay at their current institution instead of transferring, because unfortunately we've seen with these mid-majors now that it's kind of turned into a JUCO, right? Because it's like,
Yes.
okay, like, you know, I've got my stats up and everything at this school, let me transfer to a Power 4 school. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that. You got to do what you got to do. But if it's okay, maybe more playing time at this mid-major, and I have some NIL money from a program like Choose Arkansas, and I can stay here and finish my degree instead of worrying about transferring credits and maybe not getting as much playing time as I expected at a bigger school, then that kind of makes a difference for sure. And so we have memberships with that. We also have digital marketing solutions, and we kind of just help mid-sized businesses with their growth and their marketing strategies and things like that. We're also going to be selling some merchandise. I see you're wearing one of them right now,
That's
the
right.
Protect College Sports. That's something that we'll be having on our website. We also have some DMAT gear as well. And we have athlete brand partnerships as well. So if you're a local business and you want to shoot a commercial and you want to have one of our athletes in them, then by all means, reach out to us. Or, you know, some of these athletes have some very unique hobbies outside of their sport. So let's say you're an athlete and you are just like a piano player. Well, if you're a piano business in Arkansas, maybe reach out to us. We can set something up and they can do a social media ad or things like that. So there's so many things we are so open to doing with athletes and businesses throughout our state.
And to finish up this part of the segment, you know, okay, so they're willing. How do they reach out to y'all? How do they get a hold of, you know, what are some ways where they can be in contact with y'all and set up either a meeting or find out ways where they can help out?
Yeah, you can head to our website, choosearkansas.org, and we have a contact us portion, or you can go to our social media pages and send us a message. You can even send me a message. That's my @ name right there, Cierra Clark TV. I'm the one running the social media accounts now. So I will get it to someone on our board and we will resolve that for sure, because we want to grow this and we want to let everyone know what we're about.
Yeah. And so, you know, that's the thing. We want to get this thing rolling. And when me and David talked for that first time, it was, we were hooked. We were lined here. Me and Adam, we joined forces because of both of our passions in women's sports and meshed really well. And we've been doing this together for 3 years now, just with me and Adam. So when me and him talked and we seen how this could work, and look, guys, to be honest, you know, when you're talking about the women's athletes, you're thinking, you know, you're not thinking about $1 million is $1 million can buy a whole team.
Yeah.
You know, we're looking at the fact, yes, you see the picture from Texas Tech got the $1 million, but you know, there is people that are saying as a whole team, we only need a couple $100,000. So that's where when you link up and you're not having to give $1 million or $500,000 for a whole player, you can just get 2 or 3 people together and you can really fully fund a whole program. And that's what the hope is for us here at Hog Talk to really help out with Choose Arkansas, is to get some of these people out. I know it's expensive, but it's not as expensive as, you know, hey, we're trying to fund a basketball team with $6 million, $20 million. Guys, look, you can help out 3 to 4 programs through Choose Arkansas. You can help out some of these. You can help keep kids.
Yeah.
You know, some of these players that come to Arkansas, not only you're looking at players that come in here, you can help keep them. And that retention's another big deal, because look what Courtney Neifel's done in building her program. How would she be if you keep on losing your players every other year? And where would that be? So not only are you helping support a program, you're helping keep these kids on campus and keeping them choose Arkansas. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. And it's important to, of course, the transfer portal, again, you got to do what you got to do, but there's nothing like really being at a program all 4 years and having a home to come back to whenever you graduate. And, your name is on the Hall of Fame at whatever program you're at. And it's important for those athletes to have a home after they graduate too.
What we're going to do, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back from the break, me and Cierra, we're going to talk some Razorback football and do some, off-season talk with the football program and what their hopes with, and we'll be right back after a break.
Searching for premium brewery products that will take your daily routine to the next level? Look no further than Sterling Soap Company. Our handmade soaps, aftershaves, and balms are made with only the finest ingredients that give you the ultimate grooming experience. With a variety of scents to choose from, there's something for everyone. Plus, our products are crafted in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality. So why wait? Visit www.sterlingsoap.com or visit our retail store at 16 West Walnut Street in Paris, Arkansas. Shop our collection and discover the difference for yourself. Upgrade your grooming routine with Sterling Soap Company. Are you looking for a place to grab a cold drink and some delicious food? Look no further than Arkansas Brewing Company. Located at 201 South 1st Street in beautiful downtown Ozark, our establishment offers a wide selection of craft beers and tasty eats. But what sets us apart is our welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. At Arkansas Brewing Company, you'll always feel like part of the family. So visit Destiny and Christopher Brockett and staff today and see for yourself what makes us the go-to spot for locals and visitors alike. Arkansas Brewing Company, come for the drinks and stay for the friends. Attention DIYers and home improvement enthusiasts. Are you searching for the right tools and the supplies to tackle your next project? Look no further than Mentor's Hardware Store. With locations in Ozark, Alma, and Clarksville, our vast selection of hardware and building materials is sure to have everything you need, whether you're fixing a leaky faucet or building a new deck. Plus, our knowledgeable staff is always on hand to offer expert advice and guidance. And with our competitive prices and convenient online ordering, Mentor's Hardware Store is your one-stop shop for all your DIY needs. Visit us today and let's build something amazing together.
Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Look no further than ATU Ozark Campus. As a 2-year satellite campus of Arkansas Tech University, we're dedicated to a quality workforce education, industry partnerships for in-demand jobs, and tailored paths for success. Our programs are led by industry professionals. Whether it's a certificate or you're aiming for a graduate degree, ATU Ozark has you covered. Visit our website at www.atu.edu/Ozark or contact us at 479-667-2117. Your future begins here. Welcome to Ozark Area Chamber of Commerce, where our mission is simple: encourage, promote, and aid an enduring environment of shared economic opportunity and civic development for the Ozark, Arkansas area. Whether you're a local business owner or a resident, we've got something for you. Shop our unique local businesses, explore the beauty of Ozark, and savor local flavors and find cozy accommodations. Join us in building a stronger community, and to learn more, contact us at 479-667-2525. Remember, together we thrive.
And welcome back to the Hog Talk Podcast. We Cierra back with you. All right, so look, Razorback football coming up. What is your thoughts on this new transition with Ryan Silverfield and the program? Because again, when we tie and choose Arkansas with this, we want everybody to be successful.
Yeah.
So what is your hopes for this new program and this new regime and getting them back on the winning track?
Yeah, I mean, just to win some SEC games last year was rough to watch. They didn't win a single conference game, and it was frustrating because the offense was so incredibly talented with Taylon Green, and he was one of the SEC's leading rushers as our quarterback. And it was just so frustrating to watch because the offensive line wasn't good. It's like, come on, Sam Pittman, you're an offensive line coach. Like, come on, make him a little more. And so I'm excited for this new era with Ryan Silverfield. It was a crazy coaching search. I think one of the craziest as a whole throughout the conference because Auburn, LSU, Florida, I guess you could count Ole Miss or
that debacle, holy moly, yeah.
coaches. And so it was like, who's going to get what? It was like a juggling act. And so when Arkansas landed Ryan Silverfield, it was really interesting because, of course, the Hogs played against him when he was the coach at Memphis, and then Memphis beat Arkansas. And it was like, well, if you can't beat him, join him.
Exactly.
But I'm excited for this era. I was at the spring game, and it looked like the defense improved a lot, which is something that Hog fans want to see because they had a historically terrible defense. And it's going to be exciting how these guys step up. Of course, you guys have like Quincy Rhodes, and we also had Charlie Collins, actually, who was one of our athletes that we worked with at Choose Arkansas. And something I didn't add in our previous segment was that we have a podcast coming up with Choose Arkansas. We'll have some interviews with some of our athletes as well on there. And I got to talk to Collins. He played at Little Rock Mills. He's originally from Pine Bluff, and his cousin, Courtney Crutchfield, is also on the team. They're roommates.
Oh,
Great.
wow.
Yeah. And he talked about how it's always like a family reunion when the family comes up and watch them because they're both from Pine Bluff. And he was a guy who actually almost hit the portal or he did enter the portal because, the coach was leaving and we didn't know what was going to happen. But when I talked to him about Coach Silverfield, he was like, Coach Silverfield, that's my guy. And so he really seems like he has a bond with his players. Of course, he's very, intense and with the program and everything. But Collins told me about, it was at a film session or something they had. And Coach Silverfield had he had like a fun segment where he put like their high school highlights on there, and the kids, were kind of roasting each other and all this kind of thing. So it seems like they have a good time there, and I'm excited for them because when you're having fun off the field, you also have fun on the field.
Yeah, definitely. And with, rebuilding a program and not having, the 5-star talent across the board, you have to really find the diamonds in the rough. You got to really, Michigan State's done it for years where they'll take these 3-star guys and they just build a program with them. And that's everybody wants to win. It's the fans fatigue. I know when you did stuff for SEC Unfiltered, it was like representing Arkansas, and you're just like, dadgummit, do I got to do Arkansas today? It's just those, it's nice when you get to talk about other programs, but it's just the fact that we've been so frustrated because you see the purpose, you see the potential that this raise. You go back to 21 and how awesome it was to be on campus, to be a part of the program. And it's like, if you could take that and put it in a bubble and put it in a package and then just give it to Ryan Silverfield, here, this is your magic dust, and to bring it back because one, your football sets up your whole year.
Yeah.
If you have success, you look at Arkansas when they beat Texas and then the basketball goes on a run. Baseball makes it to the College World Series. It just sets everything up. And now we're at a lull where look, you're counting on your baseball team and they get beat. Well, now you're like, what do we have to look forward to? You're looking at a 2-10 football program, and you're like, you want him to do well, but the trust has to be there. You're talking about the trust, and until look, this can all change. Utah, they beat Utah and upset Utah. Everything can change. But leading up to that, there's just a lot of fatigue where they have to see wins first. That's where the upper management at Arkansas, they want you to give in hopes of winning. But in reality, we want to see wins first. And if the winning comes, guess what? Choose Arkansas. They're going to be handing y'all money hand over fist because that's what it takes.
Yeah, like you said, it's all a momentum game. I do have to admit, I did go to the University of Florida, but when Florida, they had that run where in football, before they fired Billy Napier, they took down LSU, they took down Ole Miss with Jackson Dart, and then basketball turned around and won the national championship. And so it's like that with a lot of schools. In 2021 in Fayetteville, that was actually my first year I moved to Arkansas. So I was a little bit spoiled getting to see them make it to Omaha, make it to the Elite Eight, and then, of course, take down Texas and have a 9-game season and go to the Outback Bowl, which it was called that at the time. Full, now they're always changing these names. But, it was a great overall year. And then I look back on that and I'm like, what happened?
Yep.
So it's all a game of momentum, and I'm excited to see what they do. Like you said, fans really have to believe before they start investing in programs. And NIL is still pretty new to a lot of fans. Some fans are still kind of hesitant. They're like, why am I paying players?
Yes.
But once they see that success and they're like, oh, okay, we need to invest because some kids might, find that success, rack up their stats, and maybe hit the portal for another program. And we don't want that to happen.
Well, when you look at a program, I know the bar has been set at the highest it possibly could when you look at a program like Indiana. But when you see now, and it helps people like Choose Arkansas, it don't take but 2 years to build a program now. You could get the right players and build it in a year with the right money and the right fit and getting the right players. It can be done now. And even in the SEC, it's tough. I mean, it was done in the Big 12. I mean, they had they failed the first year and lost in the first round of the college football playoffs and then win a national championship the following year. So that gives you hope when you're talking about y'all being a startup entity and having people look. Indiana did this in 2 years with the right money and we get the right players. We can be that success story. We can get things right back on track where we are a perennial 8 to 9 win program. And then with the college football playoffs expanding, a 9-win season, a 9-win regular season could get you to the college football playoffs. So the goal, yes, from outside looking in, you get overwhelmed and you think it's just unattainable, but there's a lot of factors that could really make Arkansas that program again. Look where Arkansas was in basketball when Eric Musselman left. Everybody was making the Fresh Prince memes of one player on the team was sitting there on the rug, and then here comes, John Calipari.
That was crazy.
It gives y'all hope, though. You're going to people saying this could be done. How long? Well, maybe 5-6 years. No, it can be done today. And I know that helps y'all out a lot when you go on these meetings and talking to these investors that, look, you give us a couple years, we can have this rolling.
Yeah, for sure. Indiana is the beacon of hope for a lot of programs, especially the ones like Arkansas. Now, it does help when you have a coach like Curt Cignetti, who has won at every single level you can think of, and gets to Indiana, has his first year there, made it to the college football playoffs, and they do play in the Big Ten, so it's not as hard as we see. But, and then you have a guy like Fernando Mendoza that comes in and transfers, and he was also an under-recruited athlete. He's from my home state. He's from South Florida. And, his only offer out of high school was from Yale. And then he got one from Cal, and then the rest is history. And so that's something that Cignetti has really worked, is that transfer portal. And now he has a star athlete in Josh Hoover, who transferred from TCU. That's going to be their quarterback at Indiana. And you have to be able to work that portal, and NIL is a big part of that, because it's like, Hoover, for example, he's from the Dallas-Fort Worth area and he played at TCU. It's like, oh, maybe I want to stay home. Do I want to go to Indiana? Well, do I want to win a national championship? Yep. And no shade to Bloomington, but Fayetteville's a very nice place to live. It is always ranked as one of the best SEC towns to live in, not even just as a college student, but as a young professional or anyone at any age. Bentonville, Northwest Arkansas is absolutely growing. And it's a place for, if you're a student athlete, if, you're like, okay, I want to network outside of my sports career, you can't play football forever. It's a great place to really grow and learn about business and things like that. And that's what I think what makes Fayetteville such a marketable place. Yeah.
I look at Arkansas as a vinyl record. You look at it, you see it on the shelf. There's so much dust on it. And you wipe the dust off. You're like, man, this used to be it. This used to be before, when you had 8 tracks, you had vinyl, but now vinyl's starting to come back. There's so many people that go to these thrift stores and these antique stores and they're buying vinyl again.
Yeah.
And that represents what Arkansas could be. All right. You just wipe the dust off and you just remember what it was. And then you take it home and you're like, man, this is awesome. Now vinyl's popular again. I think that represents Arkansas. Arkansas used to be the big deal, used to be a good program. It's got some dust on it now. We just need the right people to come take care of it. No shade there, but the right people to take care of the program and get this thing back on track.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It is an uphill battle. Arkansas, when it comes to SEC media days, wouldn't surprise me if people pick them to finish last. That's not what I think, but what the world thinks. Yes. And so, you just kind of have to block out that noise and really just focus and then prove people wrong. And I think that's really going to be something that Arkansas could really thrive off of. Is just like, we're the underdogs. I mean, Arkansas seems like they're always the underdogs, but this football season, new coach, people don't know a lot about this team. And it's going to be interesting to see how they do this year.
Yeah, and the fact, the schedule, you get through the first month. I mean, there's a 4-game, 5-game stretch there that is obtainable to where you might not win all the games, but depending, you don't know what these other, you're talking about NIL and you're talking about transfer portal and coaching changes. You don't know what they have. And
Yeah.
you get on a little bit of a roll. Let's just talk about Oklahoma baseball for a second.
Right.
You get on a roll and you start hitting your stride at the right time. You start winning these games. I don't care if you're the better team. You get wins. It's going to build confidence. And look, I'm just going to be honest. If this team gets to 6 games into a bowl game, that's a successful year for me because of the expectations. Now, you got to build off of that. But I would be ecstatic. I'm sorry. I would be ecstatic if Arkansas gets to 6 wins and makes a bowl game this year. I would be so ecstatic. And because that shows hope that we're moving in the right direction. First year coach and get his program intact. And guess what? This dude went from 2 to 6 games in 1 year and he's not loaded with a lot of super seniors. He's not developing players from an old coach that sets him up. He is truly doing it off his willpower, people buying in. I'm sorry to any of you Arkansans that are for this all in. I'm a Clemson guy. I've heard that since 2008. Dabo started it. So all these people, you're jumping on the all in train. Hey, awesome. It's great. But for me, I'm partial to it because I've heard it for, since 2008. So if it works for Arkansas, hey, it worked for Hello. But it took him 7 years to build a coaching staff and to build a program. So with what Ryan Silverfield's got going on, again, that middle of the pack stretch, middle of the schedule stretch, I don't have it right in front of me, but very favorable. You start catching these teams off guard, and you're playing with house money the whole season outside of North Alabama and Tulsa.
Right.
So
like,
playing with house money.
Yeah, like Tennessee, we're still kind of not sure what they're going to look like this year. Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia's gone, but we know Clark Lee is an incredible coach. Missouri, that's always kind of a weird one. Missouri has had Arkansas's number for the past few years, but you never know with that one. And then Auburn, also new head coach.
Yep, exactly.
South Carolina, Shane Beamer's on the hot seat. Their offensive line was terrible. I would think they would fix that, and then they would be a little bit better with Lenore Sellers back another year under his belt. But that game is in Fayetteville, and so if the crowd is involved, then that could swing either way.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Texas and LSU who are expected to be college football playoff contenders, possibly national title contenders. Whoever you talk to, and I think those could be some tough ways to end the season, but you just never know, honestly.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on LSU.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hype. To me, with all the hype and the money that they're spending and bringing, to me, they got to win a national championship. And if they don't, but you think about somebody like LSU program and you've got a guy like Lane Kiffin, and what if they go on a 2-game skid and they're out of college football playoff contention?
Yeah.
Then the rest of the season, they're moving on to next year. They don't care because they can't make – Arkansas takes that game from them because they're just like, whatever. We don't see Arkansas as a rival, but Arkansas does. And they go as this woe is me victim, but they are making this bed of perfection, and we're spending all this money. My expectations for them is you can't win. You can't lose any games because you're promising us national championships and you're promising them to have the best of everything. You lose week 1 to Clemson, which I hope they do. But if you go on a skid, hey, that's on y'all. That y'all chose to go this route with Lane Kiffin and bring back Edo and all that. So be careful. And then let's go to basketball and you bring back Will Wade. Y'all are playing with the devil. So if y'all get burnt, hey, don't come blaming us for it.
Yeah, and we know with LSU and with Lane Kiffin, he always leaves in a dramatic way. And LSU fans, it's kind of like, for lack of a better term, they're getting in bed with the girl that they know has been around the block, and they're like, well, she's, or I guess the other way around for my gender, they're getting with the guy who is a player, and you've seen him screw over so many girls, but you're like, oh, but he picked me, so I'm just going to see how it works. I know
I'm different.
But I'm different. Who cares what he's done to the other girls? I know it could end badly, but he picked me, and he's going to get me that ring. So that's how I see that one. And, with LSU, with baseball, we saw that they were coming off a national championship, and then they didn't even make it to regionals. And I think a lot of it has to do with all that money that they spent with football. And I'm like, there is no guarantee. I mean, they spent all that money with Brian Kelly. And a lot of people thought that was a slam dunk hire coming from Notre Dame to Baton Rouge. And clearly that did not work. So, and then Kiffin has even said in press conferences things along the lines of, well, I don't expect to win a national championship this first year. And people are like, what?
Whoa. Yeah. You're already making those excuses and you're putting it in, it's good propaganda and stuff. So, but it's going to, I have high hopes for this coach. You want the best. I mean, look, everybody, I mean, doing our show, y'all doing Choose Arkansas, you doing your stuff, SEC Unfiltered, it's one of them. You want it to be successful because no matter where, like you went to Florida, but yet Arkansas still holds a special place in your heart. And you're like, you want to be able to talk about good things for them. And not me being a huge Clemson fan, but yet this is what I do. And I want Arkansas to be good. So we want because all me and Anna has been talking about for the last year is just outside of basketball. It's just been lull. And, it's hard to not talk about the same things over and over, but the same things keep on happening over and over. Yeah. So we want to change. We want to come on here on Monday and be talking about upset wins and the crowds and stuff like that. But, it's funny that now people are talking about the biggest show in town is the Arkansas Diamonds in Hot Springs and storming the field. I mean, look, you talk about a startup program. That's insane. Year 2, they were the Wise Guys last year, and now they're the Diamonds. And I'm telling you, I don't know if you've been to a game, but what you've seen after that, it is the best ticket in town. It is much fun to watch. Oh my gosh, it is so much fun to watch. If you're in Hot Springs during a home game, you need to go watch them because it is electric. I compare it to minor league baseball. Okay. You don't have to know the sport. You don't have to follow it, but you get there. And I think tickets are cheap, $8 to $10 you can get into the game. And it's a great time. Oh, so awesome. Definitely need to go down there and talk to Lauren down there. Chris Goodman, he was with the Wise Guys. He's still back. But Lauren Hatton, she's the GM now there with the Wise Guy. Hey, woman in power right there. Yeah. I mean, she's the GM of Arena Football League. But I'm telling you, it is an amazing show to watch. We watched the inaugural game last year when they were the Wise Guys. And again, like I said, they switched the Diamonds. But it was really cool that Barstool shouted them out. And the people rushing the field, storming the field with their shirts off. I mean, you talk about boosting the now. I would love to see how many people is at the next game because of that. They see how much fun it is. But yes, definitely go down there and watch a game.
Oh, awesome. I love just, there's nothing better than just being able to watch sport and you don't even have to know the storyline players or anything. That's why another reason why I'm obsessed with the World Cup. It's like, today I am a Brazil fan and tomorrow I'm a Colombia fan. And today, of course, I'm always a USA fan, but it's fun just being able to cheer on all these teams.
Talking about that, me and Adam had that discussion and, I'm 44 now. I remember 9/11 and I remember when George Bush come on the mound and threw that first pitch in the World Series and how it brought everybody together. Mm-hmm. We are seeing that with the World Cup.
Yeah.
And it's to me, it's embarrassing that we're having people from other countries rush the streets and we're not seeing anybody get beat up for the jersey they wear. We're not seeing any violence. We're seeing 50,000 Dutch in orange take over the streets with their orange bus and the catchy jingle they do.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's like that screams when I talk about Arkansas, that's what I want to see the fans do for Arkansas. But I want to see sports get back to that place as a whole.
Oh, yeah.
I am hooked on. I mean, I've loved the World Cup from a young kid when it stopped a civil war. The Horn of Africa, Ivory Coast made it for the first time ever. And they stopped their civil war.
Wow.
So they could watch their country play. And I remember there's a magazine that had the two tanks. They were pointed at each other in the cover of the magazine. It's to me like you couldn't have that today. You couldn't see our government and our head of government go out and throw a first pitch out. It would not have the reception that it did after 9/11. And if I could have a dream, I would love to see sports be sports. Yeah. And it's unity because everybody in this world needs a break. And that was our break.
Yeah,
And
and that's
now
why I love sports. It brings people together. I don't know if you've seen Jameis Winston in the offseason. He's like
oh
the
my
Fox
gosh, he's
Sports, like,
hilarious. Oh, yeah.
correspondent. And the other day he was wearing like a yellow afro dancing with Colombia. Then the other day he's dancing with Brazil. The Brazil fans, they love him. They don't even know who he is because they don't know much about American football. I mean, the most they know about American football is that Tom Brady was married to Gisele Bundchen, who was a Brazilian supermodel. And she's more famous than him worldwide, but they just absolutely love it. And I saw a video on Instagram today of this little Brazil and Haiti played last week, and it was these little boys, and one was Brazilian and one was Haitian, and they had jerseys on, and they were just hugging each other. They're probably about 2 years old. It was just like the cutest video, just seeing fans go together. And it's even funny seeing the banter between. I watched Brazil and Japan play today, and Japan lost, and the Brazil fans are around the Japanese guy putting Brazilian flags around him, like, oh, we're sorry, giving the hug with the Brazilian flag. It was so funny.
But it's amazing. But it's and you're seeing, teams, they're swapping jerseys and they're doing all. I mean, they're seeing teams, they won a game. They were knocked out of the contention for the knockout stages, but they won a game where they scored a goal, and to them, that was one of their greatest moments. And even in a loss, winning a game and knowing that it's over for you, but you still got to represent your country. We could learn a lot from other countries. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah. My family is from Panama, and I have some cousins that live in Atlanta, but they grew up in Panama. And Panama played in Toronto for the group stages in the World Cup. And this is only the second time Panama made it to the World Cup. And so my cousins were all up there. It was like a sea of Panamanians. And like Toronto's pretty far from Panama. And even though they lost, they didn't make it to the round of 32. It was still like a very exciting environment. And I just love that it's in the U.S., especially for people who are of descendants from that country, because we are a melting pot. And places like Miami, where Brazil or Colombia are playing, and it's just like I see people that I went to school with in Florida, and they're just like crying because they don't really get to go back home often, and this is like close to home, hearing that national anthem play. And it's just a beautiful thing to see. And I love that it's in the US. I thought it was so funny when that guy, I think his name's Kenny from Germany. And
Freddie. Yeah, Freddie. Yeah.
Yeah. He went to the game at Auburn. It was a friendly between Argentina and Iceland. And he was like, oh my God, what is Buc-ee's? And he was like, wait, we have to drive out of town to stay in a hotel because Auburn doesn't have enough hotels. And I'm like, welcome to the SEC. But I'm glad you got to experience it.
Yeah, it was amazing to see. And it was funny. I don't remember the Jace guy from Britain come over. Like, it was almost like a precursor to what was going to happen in the World Cup. But he come over, was promoting the whole state of Arkansas, just going. And he come up to Fort Smith in Northwest Arkansas, went to the Buffalo River and got burnt. But it's like these people are coming and exploring America now. Yeah. And they're blown away by our food, our culture. And the biggest thing I got from it was, somebody said, don't go to New York or Miami. Go to the towns where off the beaten path. That's where you're going to find America. Yeah. That's where you're going to find the Southern hospitality, the people that are welcome, begging them to come to their towns. And it's really good to see it. But again, it's like, I wish we would treat each other that way and not, hey, we have these outsiders coming in. And yes, it's awesome seeing that, but that's where we need to be.
Yeah. I completely agree. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. In Brazil, they say jogo bonito, beautiful game. And it's just been,
they go on with it. Yeah. Well, Sarah, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for jumping on tonight. Before we go, again, tell everybody, if they haven't joined, they're just now joining, tell them about what Choose Arkansas is, how they can help out, and just the initiative, that drive, what y'all are doing for the landscape of sports at Arkansas.
Yeah, so you can head to choosearkansas.org and learn more about us. You can also follow us on social media. It's Choose Arkansas. And if you have any questions, you can also shoot us a DM. I'll be on there, also on YouTube. I'll be posting some interviews with our student athletes that we work with. We work with athletes from all of the universities in Arkansas. And basically, we're an NIL marketing company. So we promote businesses in Arkansas, and we kind of tie them with our student athletes. We do athlete brand partnerships and all sorts of things. And e-commerce, we're selling things on our website, shirts. We really want to also help the women's sports as well, because they're losing some funding, and a lot of them don't make the revenue that the big the big three sports do, like the men's basketball and then football and baseball at some programs. And so we just really want to kind of keep athletes in Arkansas. And we also have some camps coming up too. So Journey Peppers and North Little Rock, she's a Razorback volleyball player, and we have a camp with her, and that's really exciting. So if you want to, take a break from the kids and have them go play some volleyball, then that's something as well that you could definitely check out.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on. And look, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We had some technical difficulties, got started a little bit late tonight, but that's all right. What we're going to do, anytime there's breaking news, we're going to be able to come to you live. We're going to be able to do some videos on that. But again, thank you to Choose Arkansas for, allowing Cierra to come on and us talk about your new NIL ventures and stuff like that. But as always, thank you, everybody. And we will catch you next Monday.